Welcome to the Science and Transportation channel. In the two previous episodes, we developed two conventional submarines for our proposed Navy expansion, the Monterey-class attack submarine and the Palo Alto-class guided missile submarine. In this episode, we will incorporate them into the fleet and show how their inclusion improves overall fleet performance. The final force contains 66 Virginia-class nuclear attack submarines, 36 Montereys, and 24 Palo Altos. In modeling that force, an intriguing result emerged. It was not so much that adding 60 submarines provided more capability, but that the combination of different submarine types performed better than spending the same money on a much larger all-Virginia fleet. To compare different forces, the model gives each fleet composition an overall mission score between 0 and 1. For every mission, open ocean submarine hunting, regional sea denial, rapid response, strike, and the other jobs in the study, the model asks how much of the required mission the fleet can cover. If it can completely cover that mission, it receives a score of 1. More important missions count more heavily, and several different wartime conditions are averaged together. Internal analysis suggested that 66 Virginia-class submarines was the realistic industrial limit given our proposed fleet structure. With that number of Virginia-class vessels, the overall score was about 0.5. Such a score suggested that the industrial limit was too restrictive for an effective fleet. The industrial limit was removed, and the all-nuclear force was allowed to grow. At approximately the same procurement cost as the complete mixed fleet, 98 Virginias could be purchased. At this fleet size, the score improved considerably to 0.76. The mixed force, 66 Virginias, 36 Montereys, and 24 Palo Altos, scored about 0.89. Worst-case scenarios with late-war loss levels were simulated as well. In this case, the score improved from 0.58 with 98 Virginias to 0.71 with the mixed force. The reason becomes much clearer when considering how the submarines are actually used. The current carrier defense simulations consistently place 2 Virginias with the carrier group. These operate ahead of the surface ships and search likely approach areas. Monterey-class attack submarines are situated in the target region in advance, patrolling island passages, choke points, approaches from enemy submarine bases, and other areas where geography limits the routes an opposing submarine can take. As the simulations became more detailed, the additional Monterey-class submarines were shown to provide very strong regional denial coverage. When forced to maneuver continuously with a fast carrier group, however, many of the numerical advantages of Monterey disappear. This makes Virginia the preferred close escort, while Monterey is more effective when positioned across the approaches to the carrier's operating area. With these constraints, the mixed force can outperform a much larger all-Virginia fleet, as the regional denial requirement can be carried largely by the 36 Montereys, leaving more Virginias available for mobile carrier defense, open ocean submarine hunting, and rapid response missions elsewhere. But in an expanded fleet, especially after wartime losses, assigning 2 Virginias to every carrier strike group can compete with other high-priority demands for the nuclear submarine force. In that case, 3 Palo Altos and 1 Monterey can preserve essentially the same undersea protection, about 1.54 versus 1.58 enemy submarine penetrations in the extreme campaign. The conventional force has a higher procurement cost of $13.1 billion versus $10.2 billion for the 2 nuclear submarines, and there was another significant trade-off. Over 120 simulated 6-month campaigns, the conventional package suffered submarine removals in 26 simulations, compared with 13 for the 2 Virginias. Individual submarines were not markedly more vulnerable, but deploying twice as many boats produce substantially greater fleet attrition. The conventional package does, however, bring one important compensating benefit, and this leads directly into the second major use for the conventional submarine force: substantially greater concealed strike capacity. The mission assigned to the Palo Alto-class guided missile submarines is to deploy to regional operating areas before or during a crisis and provide a substantial missile force that remains concealed below the ocean surface. The current Palo Alto design carries 26 missile-equivalent payload positions, in addition to its torpedo armament. Across the 24 submarines of the class, this is more than 600 potential strike munitions. With Palo Alto assigned primarily to strike operations, fewer Virginias need to be committed as strike platforms, leaving more of the nuclear force available for other missions. During a campaign, Virginias hunt submarines, screen naval forces, and respond to rapidly changing threats, while Palo Altos can launch missiles from positions the enemy cannot confidently predict. The use of both submarine types complicates the battlefield for opponents. Aircraft may be approaching from one axis. Surface-launched weapons may come from another. Submarine-launched missiles may appear from operating areas that the defender has spent days trying to locate. The strike simulations reinforce the same division of labor demonstrated in carrier defense. As an escort, Palo Alto can contribute meaningful anti-submarine capability. But when a sufficient number of Virginias are available for that work, the fleet normally gains more by leaving Palo Alto in the strike force. At essentially the same procurement cost of the combined conventional and nuclear fleet, 98 Virginias scored 0.76. The mixed force scored 0.89. To finally reach approximately the same overall mission score using Virginias alone, the model required about 122 Virginias. This many Virginias would cost $622 billion, compared with $501 billion for the mixed fleet under the study's cost assumptions. The advantage comes from allowing different parts of the submarine force to concentrate on different demands. The 36 Montereys create regional undersea mass. The 24 Palo Altos create a substantial concealed strike force. And the 66 Virginias remain available for the mobile, demanding missions that dominate high-end submarine operations. The resulting submarine force is more effective in the model as a mixed fleet, with specialized duties than an all-nuclear fleet at the same procurement cost. Our next episode will discuss the large surface combatant fleet and the optimal mix and procurement schedule for Arleigh Burke-class destroyers, Zumwalt-class derived cruisers, and the follow-on DDGX, which is capable of performing both roles. Thank you for watching.